Welcome at this special show of the International Movie Friends. My name is Sven from the Netherlands, and I'm here with a special group of people because normally I am one of the friends, one of the reviewers of movies, but today I'm an interviewer, and we're really honored to have you guys all the way from Suriname, Ivan Tai-Apin and Sander Coumou. Ivan, director, and Sander, if I'm not wrong, cameraman and editor of the movie Wiren. Good morning, good evening, guys.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, as I said, we're here to talk about Wiren, a film produced in Suriname, being released last year and since last June adopted by Netflix, the huge Netflix, Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. Congrats with that, guys. How is it to be on Netflix, Ivan?
Thank you. Yeah, we feel really honored. It's like a dream come true because, Netflix is the streaming platform of the world, like the biggest one. And yeah, we knew it a few months ago, but still we didn't really, think it would be on Netflix. And when Netflix showed the trailer, we knew, yes, it's going to come on Netflix. So we are really glad, but also we are glad because finally there's a Surinamese movie on Netflix. And, people can see Suriname, can see the people, can see the locations, everything. So that's really, I'm very proud of the whole team and everybody who worked on the movie. Yes.
Yeah, and Sander, do you know what the reactions are of this release on Netflix? Do you hear something?
Yeah, you get a few calls and a few messages on Instagram and Facebook, but that has been going on from December 2018, from the moment that the movie went in premiere in Paramaribo, and after that it was a whole journey of those moments where more people were able to see the film, and that's like very, very how do you say that? Very, very grateful to be possible to experience that.
Yeah, I can imagine. We're going to talk about later a bit more about this. First, I want to, for the people who have not seen or don't know the movie, a little introduction.
The movie is about, actually the movie is about a case of Wiren. Wiren is going to court. And the movie is about people, the viewer can watch the movie through Wiren's eyes. He starts as a young boy and he has to accomplish all kinds of barriers. He has to go over those barriers. And first he meets an American doctor in the first part, and that opens a way from him to go to school. And after that, he goes to the city, Paramaribo, where he goes to the Kennedy School and he introduces also the sign language. So what the viewer is experiencing is that a deaf boy who has the lead in the movie is struggling, but he is accomplishing his goals through his struggles, but also fighting. And then he wants to show the nation how deaf people are being treated and to change that, actually. So it's about a court case of a young deaf boy who becomes older and trying to teach his nation how to overcome those barriers.
Let's watch a trailer to get more images by this story.
De zaak van de heer Wiren Jagisser tegen de rechtsstaat Suriname.
Wiren is special. He's deaf, but he still enjoys his life.
So why isn't he in school?
A deaf boy in school in Suriname? In Nikeri?
Can we do something about that?
Wiren doet een beroep op het internationaal verdrag dat Suriname heeft geratificeerd in 2006.
The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities is an international human rights treaty intended to protect the rights and dignity of persons with disabilities.
Ik ben zuster Anita en ik ga jullie een rondleiding geven. Goed luisteren, want ik herhaal niet praten met je mond. Hoor? Als je dat zien doen, gaan ze je straffen.
Kom op, hoger! Hoger! Kom op!
Say.
No, you don't do that, Isa. They gabartaal, whatever.
Hoe zeg je? Waarom? Op 2 keer. Waarom?
Ze must habla. Ze must taki. De pitje moest leven taki met je lips.
Doven wil zich inschrijven. Wat doe je marcheert?
Nee, dom, geen. Nee, Wiren. Nee, mooi.
Wiren, dat gelul moet ophouden. Stoppen.
Dit betekent dat elk kind in Suriname recht heeft op een gelijkwaardige behandeling. Ik roep naar voren de heer Wiren Jagisser.
This is Suriname. Things don't change that easy.
Suriname, things that change don't easy, were the last words of the trailer. But I think you guys did make a change, right, with making this movie, Ivan?
Yes, yeah, you can say that because, you know, disability people here in Suriname, they have it really, how do you say it? They really, you cannot see them on the streets. You don't hear from them. They have it really difficult because a lot of things haven't changed for them through the years. So, first of all, this movie already brought awareness to people with disabilities. Now we have interpreters working for different government shows or organizations because deaf people now are being heard and being seen. So this movie has a total impact on society, and it hasn't been shown yet on Surinamese television, but that will have a greater impact. But it's changing Suriname, and I think it's even changing outside Suriname, and I think we underestimated that. But also in Holland, deaf people are talking about this movie because the deaf people in Holland also are fighting now for sign language to become an official language. In every country, we see that people with disabilities and deaf people are struggling for equal rights. So it's not only a Surinamese problem, but in Suriname, we're running really behind, but the awareness is really coming now. And I'm glad to work on a project which, how do you say it, which contribute to that awareness. Yes.
I understand. In another way, it's also changing something, maybe, because it's the first Surinamese production to be shown on Netflix. The film industry in Suriname is not that huge. I know as a Dutchie the movie One People from Pim de la Parra from the 70s. And more recently, there were also more films created by Dutch producers. But I think you did something different, Sander. What can you tell how this production got feet off the ground? How did it start?
Yeah, well, I came here when I was 22, and I'm an exponent of the YouTube generation, and it was at the start of the DSLR revolution. So that was the moment that I started working, and we started with music videos, and after that we went to commercials, and slowly we moved on to like TV programs and TV shows and documentaries. And I could say that I kind of grew up together with the Surinamese digital movie industry culture. How do you want to put it? Because it started at the same moment. Because before I came in 2009. Before 2009, there were no HD cameras. There were no digital cameras. Everything was still with digital 8 tapes, you know, with the cassettes, and that's why it's kind of, it went organic from when you started. Yeah, to me it's like this: you start with a commercial, and then 8 years later you make a movie. So we grew into it together, because not only me, it's like the whole crew, and because it's like a small country, we all know each other, and so everybody was working separately, and when the first big Dutch production came, I think it was when I was here, was Sonny Boy. I didn't work on that one, but after that was Sami Paramaribo. It's a TV show for kids, and because I didn't went to film school, I didn't really knew the mechanics of how do you produce something like this, and then I got a small insight in their kitchen, how they did it, because I've only found out my own way of doing things. And together with other crew members, which we still worked on today together, we found our own way to produce this, to do this, without the type of money they have from the Dutch government, because that money's not here.
No, there's no foundation like in the Netherlands, like the film funds. That kind of institutions are not involved with this production. It's all founded by partners, like say sponsors.
Yeah, it was donations. We did a crowdfunding. We did a big fundraising event. We did a lot of endless amounts of talks with companies and charities, and it was a big struggle, but you know, the goal was clear, so it wasn't that hard at all, actually.
No, it was not hard to keep motivation, but it was hard to convince people, because you were probably the first ones with doing a production like this, right? In Suriname.
Everybody thought we were crazy. Everybody said, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not. We don't have this. We don't have that. We don't know how to do it. There's not enough money. There's a recession. We heard a lot of good reasons to not do it. And the only thing you have to do is just ignore that.
Exactly, because that was my question. How do you in the end convince them? And that it's keep on going, keep on asking, keep on pushing.
Yeah, just ignore that. And that's like me and Ivan, we really went through this together for the most part. Later on, more people were involved, but the beginning, it was just two of us, and we just made fun of it. Like, okay, we're crazy. Yeah, you're crazy, and I'm crazy too. And just let's do it. And it wasn't always easy. There were certainly more moments that we thought, okay, maybe it's not going to work. But yeah, in the end, then just at that moment, you get a very good message of someone who says, I've got $5,000 for you. And then, okay, well, we cannot stop now anymore. It's too late to stop. So we cannot give them their money back. We have to do it now.
Yes, actually, Sander and I, we made a budget. We made a budget, and it was around 200,000 euros. But we spoke with a lot of organizations and they said, no, guys, you guys need to scale it down. But, you know, to make a big movie, that's already scaling it down to 200,000. So we made this movie actually for 75,000 euros, like 80,000 US dollar. And when I tell people like this was the budget it was made for, they laugh, they think like, oh no, how did you guys do it? It was really difficult to gain that money, you know, because Suriname is in a crisis now, and 2 years ago also, and getting 80,000 US dollar for such a movie is a really big amount for Suriname. So Sandra and I said, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We only had like, I think 45,000 US dollar when we started filming, and then the rest came after that. But we did it, and we also want to thank a lot of people who work like for only 20% of their normal movie. So everybody knew how important it was to tell this story about the deaf boy. So they all said, okay, we're going to work for it, but we're not going to charge you all. We're going to charge you 20%. And that's how we made the movie. And we had 30 days filming, like 27, 30 days, and then the budget was gone. And then we already said, okay, we have everything, but we couldn't have it. Oh my, and we were so happy about that we could film it in 30 days. And we didn't went over budget, but we didn't have money for the post-production. So then we did crowdfunding again, you know, so we took a lot of chances, man. We took really big chances.
So you have a director, a cameraman, and a camera, but that doesn't make you creating a good movie, Ivan. What other challenges did you face with this production? I mean, actors, whatever.
Yes, first of all, like 10 years ago, some people asked me already, for Ivan, when are you going to make your first featured film? Because I've worked on a lot of short movies and also theater. But I told them, if you don't have a good story, then you shouldn't make a movie because you want to make a movie. So my first reaction when I was asked by the Deaf Foundation was like, okay, it's nice that you guys invited me, but we don't have a story. So you all can present something for me which I can relate to, or which I see a movie in. And then the little boy named Wiren, 16 years old, from the Deaf Foundation, he said he wants to go to the university. And then I looked at the interpreter, Miss Etnel, and I told her, is it still not possible for deaf people to go to the university? And she said, Mr. Tai-Apin, I think you've been living too long in Holland. It's still not possible for deaf people not only not to go to the university, but also to get regular education, to go into the normal education system. So it's not only about higher education, but also about MAVO niveau, high school level, you know? So that was my first thing. And the second thing I thought, like, I want to make this film because it creates awareness. It's about rights. And it's also about this boy inspiring me he's seeking help, you know? And as a filmmaker, as a human being, actually, you want to help that person. And what's nicer to make a movie out of this story? So I called my friend, Sander Coumou. He's really crazy too. So I told him, Sander, we need to sit down. So he came to my house, and then we went to the first meeting with Wiren, and he said, Ivan, you're right. You know, this is a real nice story. Let's write the story. So we both co-written the story, Sander and I. After that, Sander focused more on the camera part as a DOP, and I focused more on the screenplay part. And then we combined those two together. But we discussed everything, every detail, every scene, every shot we made. We made shots on the computer where the cam goes behind, you know. those were the nice moments, I think, working with Sander, that we discussed everything.
Long discussions, but bringing each other to a higher level.
Yes.
Yeah. We spent 1.5 years to get to know each other really, really well, because it's not only about the way you want to make this shot, but you have to, especially for me, I have to know how he thinks. I have to know the why of his decisions. Then I can try to expand that.
You guys both have experience in working and living in the Netherlands. Now you live both for some years already in Suriname again. What can you tell us about your background in the film industry and on personal level?
Well, I was born and raised in Amsterdam Zuidoost, which is the most multicultural part of Amsterdam. So I was exposed from a really young age to all different kinds of cultures. And I think that's really important for me now, like 30 years later, that I'm able to live for 11 years now in a very multicultural country, which is not my own, because everybody here basically came here at some point in time. And what my parents also did, they brought me to a lot of different places, also around the world. They brought me to Asia and Africa and to the United States. So I was exposed at a young age at very different kind of worldviews. And I think that's really important, because that shapes your voice as a maker. And like the rest of all the skills you need as a filmmaker is you can learn that. You can learn how to hold a camera, you can learn how to focus a shot or how to frame, but you need the why of everything you do. And I think that process has been started way beyond a long time ago.
Yeah, because what you found interesting, you were, I think you said you were 22 when you arrived in Suriname.
Yeah.
So did you learn your technique, your skills as a cameraman, editor? Did you learn it all in Suriname?
No, I started when I was 14. Someone gave a camera to me, and I immediately thought that this is something really special, that if I move this camera, that someone else is going to see that. So I'm going to point the direction of someone else's perception. I really immediately realized that. And after that, I strongly believe in the 10,000 hour rule to become good at something. Doesn't matter what. You need 10,000 hours at least.
And how was that for you, Ivan? What's your background as a filmmaker? And what did you took from the Netherlands and what did you took from Suriname in that process?
I was born in Suriname, and on my 21st year of age, I graduated college, and then I went to Holland to study technical business administration on the higher vocational school. And during my studying, I was like, no, this is not for me. I want to go in the creative industry. And I took acting lessons in Rotterdam. It was really a good lesson I learned from my acting coach in Holland, that acting starts with listening, not listening to the story only, but also to the other characters. And what is your position as an actor? Are you a sub-lead? Are you a lead? Are you an extra? So those things were really becoming clear for me. So I got really interested in directing. So after 6 years of acting in Rotterdam, I decided to follow a master class, and I did it for 1.5 years in Holland. And then I taught a lot of kids, and also doing projects for the government in Rotterdam and doing shows. And yeah, just like Sander said, it's about making hours, but the why part is also important, because if you don't evaluate your project and also in how you do it, you won't get better at what you do. So the most important thing I discovered was that everything starts with listening, evaluating, and then doing it over and over again, so you can make your stuff more. You can make your stuff more better. You can say. After 10 years in Holland, I did a lot of projects. I decided in 2011, that was 13 years further, decided in 2011 to come to Suriname.
What was the motivation behind to go back to Suriname?
First, I came here just for vacation. And after 1 year, I was like, this is a place where there are stories, you know, and real original stories, like the lady on the corner who sells her suurgoed, that's a certain fruit with different sugars, etc. She has also a story because she sells her things, and she is the only grown-up in the family, and with 10 kids, and that's already a story to tell to the world. So Suriname is not only the country I love, but it's also the place where there are a lot of original stories.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of directors in Holland and over the world underestimate that what kind of stories there are in the third world. There are beautiful stories in countries in the third world. So yeah, that's a little bit about my. And now I'm 11 years here.
Sander, what was the main goal to achieve with this movie? To make a great movie production on its own, or also stimulating the film industry in this country?
No, the first goal was to bring awareness to the deaf people who are not being able to have the same chances as the rest of us. But you're absolutely right if you say that the second goal was most definitely to show everyone, including ourselves, that we are able to do it.
Yeah. And did you created the buzz in Suriname that this was a Surinamese production? Did it create some proud? Did you feel the buzz around when the film was released?
Yeah, but that was all Ivan, because I'm most happy when I'm just sitting behind a computer or a camera, and Ivan is like, let's tell the world.
Yeah.
So that's a good. That's why we're a good match together. And I was like, okay, well, for me the big red carpet premiere. It's not really my thing. You know, just give me a beer and I will stand somewhere in the corner because my work is done. But I really appreciate the fact that we did it, because that's how you get the attention, and that's exactly the attention the project needs to move along. Because if you just invite some people over at your house and watch the film and that's it, that's not the same thing as if you let Ivan in charge of how you promote and tell the world that we made a film. So I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, but I also tried to ask did you feel that it changed already something in the country? Do you see it's this movie is used as a Kickstarter?
Yeah, but the changes is not that easy. Yeah, it's not that fast. It's on a very small level. You know, everybody. At least we cannot go back to a time when there was no movie on Netflix. So that's one thing.
Yeah,
so, that's for sure. And it made a lot of discussions a lot easier with a lot of people, because you know everywhere you are, there are a lot of people who are always very negative. So nobody can tell me anything about that anymore. Nobody can tell me that is not possible, because we did it already. And what I've also noticed is that there are a lot of people in my inbox just 6 months later, a year later. So, oh, you truly inspired me. Thank you. And that those are the most beautiful messages you can get.
Yes, yeah.
Because you know that you've hit something, and even if it's just 1 or 2 persons, you know, that's already enough.
And what was actually the argumentation from Netflix to add Wiren to their collection? Do you know that?
Actually, they have contact with our distributor, Dutch Filmworks, and they select the movies through Dutch Filmworks, which they want to air on Netflix. And I had an interview with Netflix, and they told me like inclusion and diversity is really where they are focusing on now. And what is more beautiful than a movie with the lead, which is a disability boy who is striving for his rights. And that's where it came in, like the board of Netflix, where they said like, okay, this is really an issue we want to address, and we're not going to only promote the movie, but we're going to do also interviews, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did it also play a role that this movie was being produced in Suriname? So it was the first movie from Suriname. Did that play a role for them? Do you felt that as an advantage or something?
Yes, it were different points. I think that the distributor also was involved, really, because it got selected for the Dutch Film Festival. We got selected, and we had a premiere in September 2019. And that was already an eye-opener for a lot of critics, like, oh, there is a movie from Suriname, and it has a standard in technique and in camera work and lighting, etc. And then they got curious. So I think it worked in on our advantage that we made the movie in Suriname with Surinamese actors and also a Surinamese crew who lives here. So I think it was not only special for Suriname to do that, but also for the world, like, oh, they exist. They are doing things. They are making things. So I think it worked a little in our advantage, yes.
Yeah. And where is the film going after now? You say you have a Dutch distribution company. So it was in cinemas in Suriname and in the Netherlands. It's now on Netflix Benelux. Mm-hmm. What is the next step for the movie? Where is it going to? More abroad?
First of all, we really want to get it on Netflix worldwide. So it's still a discussion, but they are watching how the view goes, if it goes real good. And I heard already that...
What is real good for them?
What did you say?
What is real good for Netflix?
Is it popular? I don't know how much, really. But I don't know how much, but...
it was trending last weekend on Netflix Benelux. So that's...
Yes.
I don't know how that translates to numbers. It was trending.
And of course, also about the rights, because as you said, Sven, in your review, it's really important because in Suriname, we don't have distribution companies here. We don't have companies who are focusing on rights of film, music, etc., scripts. So that's we are really glad with the opening with Dutch Filmmakers that we can get it already on the market. So that is already for us a big accomplishment that we have it on Netflix Benelux. But now we are focusing on to get it on Netflix worldwide. And the second phase of this movie is to get it on television stations. So that's where Suriname also comes in, that we get it on television in Suriname. But we want to do it like at the same time it goes on television worldwide.
So still exciting times around Wiren, and still another movie in the pipeline. It's about the colonial period in Suriname, I read. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm busy with research, but I'm also, I'm writing the story. And it's about 1700s, it's about slavery, but it's more about, there are different issues, slavery, women emancipation, sexuality, but it's more about a lot of people nowadays have questions from how does society, how are there so much wrong things happening in society? But nobody goes back to history because most of the time the answer lies in the history. So the movie is not only about those subjects, but it's also about teaching people how influence of history makes what we are against today or happening today, all the social issues happening today in the world. It's not based on true story, but I'm using elements of that period to make it a movie, a featured movie.
And is it still a Surinamese production? Like Wiren?
I will do the casting worldwide. So they are going to play Surinamese actors in it, but also actors from America or from England.
Okay.
I'm also seeking French actors because it has to be real. I want the language to be real. I'm still thinking about casting African actors because I also want to show how the language of Surinamese began, and that started from the African language, and from which part from Africa. So I wouldn't say that I will film the movie 100% in Suriname, but maybe we also have to go to Africa to do some scenes. Yes.
And to be clear, you still need investors so they can call you.
Yes, that's true.
All right.
Yeah.
Sander, what's your next project?
Well, right now I'm doing something completely different. We're producing a talk show, a pilot, to see how far we can take that. But what's important for me is that we, like from Suriname, we are able to tell the story the world needs to hear, and that's possible in way more projects than just film. Also a lot of TV, but I'm really annoyed about the fact that a lot of things about the conversation about Suriname are not originating in Suriname. Other countries are talking about Suriname, and then they present it as facts and truth, and that's one of my fights. So and Ivan, I found a great ally in Ivan in that fight. So we're not done yet.
It's on the record. It's not done yet, and
we're not done yet.
It's all about the why, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Ivan and Sander, I really want to thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you, Sven. You are watching the International Movie French YouTube channel. Like and subscribe because these guys, they know what they are talking about. They review a lot of movies and it's very interesting how they do it. Positive things, but also realistic reviews. And like and subscribe. Yes.